In league football, arriving on a high tide of optimism. Ten years ago, another non-league club embarked on a similar journey, and this season, with Dave Bassett at the helm, sailed the challenging waters of the First Division. This is the story of a memorable period in the short history of Wimbledon Football Club. Almost all their league life, Wimbledon have been going somewhere. When they set off from Manchester last August to start their 10th season in the league, they'd already been promoted 5 times and relegated twice.
You know where you're going? Yeah.
Experience had taught them that whatever lay ahead, boredom was unlikely to be part of it. Main Road was an appropriate place to open a First Division career sure to be anything but middle of the road, and at that stage, Managing Director Sami Hammam was confident they could pay their way.
We are clean, we pay our bills every month, and when we buy players, we're most of the time paying for them up front.
John Fashanu, £120,000, was the most expensive.
Let's get cracking. All the best, lads. Come on, let's get nice and light. Come on, your mother. Let's go.
Andy Thorne gave Wimbledon the lead. Wimbledon's defence gave it back with interest. Manchester City scored 3 times in 6 minutes. Played one, lost one.
Going there, one chaps, and we threw it away. 1-0, and all of a sudden you eased up. You started to relax. That's amateur, schoolboy stuff, that is. We'll keep working till we get the job done.
After one game of the season, I can forecast one thing. A lot of First Division managers will be complaining about Wimbledon because they'll make life very, very difficult for a whole lot of people.
I'll tell you, lads, for another thing, that's life in the First Division and you've got to learn quick.
Nobody needed to be kept in after the next lesson. Glyn Hodges put them on the path to 3-2 victory over Aston Villa. Alan Cork scored the only goal against Leicester. Dennis Wise did likewise at Charlton. Another away victory followed at Watford. Wimbledon's 4 straight wins had taken them clear of a cluster of distinguished clubs at the head of the First Division. They were South West London's shooting stars. Wimbledon prepared for the next game against Everton, not with extra training, but with a day out in the Kent countryside. There was a characteristic Wimbledon twist when Dave Bassett, the goalkeeper, proved to be the best marksman, rather than a striker like Alan Cork.
We've done well. I mean, I said to me, why I started the season, I said, looking at the fixtures, we could well be top of the league after 4 games.
Chairman Stanley Reid preferred to be a spectator, even though the directors' seats were somewhat less luxurious than usual. Wimbledon's spectacular climb had another characteristic of shooting stars. It was short-lived and followed by a nosedive. They lost to Everton and Newcastle, drew with Cambridge in the Littlewoods Cup. and despite a fine goal by Fashanu, could only draw at home to Southampton. September ended in anticlimax. October brought blue skies and Liverpool. In the Bassett household, it was the usual domestic routine for a Saturday home game.
Yeah, he didn't recognise me. He used to be in round table. He didn't have a hand, did he, Corey? Yeah.
The man at the doctor's.
You going to be good at nannies, Kimberly?
Yeah. Good I am.
Of course I am.
Always good.
How do you feel then this morning? Is it apprehension or excitement?
Well, actually, I had a few drinks last night. At the moment, I'm recovering from that. No, I'm looking forward to the game. It's an historic day for the club, and it should be an exciting time.
Against Everton, you ended up the losers. What can you learn from that experience?
Well, I spoke to the players yesterday and said to them that I felt that they were sort of behaving in a similar way this week as they did it for the Everton game. I think they've been a bit quieter than normal, and I think possibly I don't want them to be thinking too much about Liverpool and Everton, although they're big clubs. We've got to sort of come to terms that we're playing these teams in the league and we must get results.
Just cast your mind forward to, 5-3. You've got the 11, 12 Wimbledon players in the dressing room, and it's your final sentence of instruction. What are you going to say to them?
Let's pray. And then I'm going for a cup of tea.
Next stop, the training ground for a check on the youth team with coach Jeff Taylor.
Push Graham across with you, Bob.
Then back to Wimbledon for the pre-match meal. Tea and toast and serious business.
Vince, we know that Vince gets carried away.
They've got polio like anyway.
Let's just concentrate. Now, as I said to you, I think they played at Everton with the extra man at the back, so we've got to be prepared if they do that, in which case then Beglin becomes more of a left-back Wisey, and Nicol becomes the right-hand side midfield player there. Bruce looks to throw a lot of balls out. We don't want him throwing them out, OK? And what Vince, if you've had a little look, he's talking about what sort of runs that they're basically looking. What is important, I think, Nigel, is and Guppy, you've got to be looking for walk. That when he makes his runs, that he doesn't come in there unmarked. And you, Gage, it might be you, because if we're doing as we agreed, if Wise is pushed in, the fullback's got to be prepared to push into midfield and support there, OK? Hello, Tom and Jerry's here.
The Plough Lane ground hasn't developed as rapidly as its team. Homely is the word people use. Even though £350,000 was spent in the summer to bring it up to the required standard, its non-league origins are only thinly concealed by the 1980s paint and safety fences. This isn't the posh end of Wimbledon where the McEnroes and Navratilovas make their millions. Dalglish and his aristocrats have arrived at the ground next door to the dog track. Football remains the people's game. Even though some may be heirs apparent to an Italian fortune. Theory on paper must soon become deeds on the pitch.
Come on, chaps, let's have you ready. I just want to have a few words.
Come on, Nigel, get your pads on. We've got a timing on. It's coming up, it's about 13 minutes to go.
Now, there's no problems on our organisation. Everybody knows what they're doing on their corners and free kicks. Yes, Bash?
Yep.
We know what we're doing. You're going to have to look around, Nige, whether they do the 2 banks of 4, whether the short one's on, and then we play the ball in. Now, it's important, what'll happen is Grobler acts as a sweeper a lot of the time, and Fash, you'll have to be careful because Southampton caught you a couple of times last week, didn't they, with the offside. So you're just going to have to look along the line before you go in, because if you just run straight in, they hold the line quite well. Now, when we're defending, make sure we defend properly. We don't turn your back on the play. A couple of times we did that against Southampton. Something happens and we're looking somewhere else. Make sure, because what they will do is they will take quick throws and quick free kicks. And if we're not alert, all of a sudden the game will be playing, the referee will play on, and we could be outnumbered. Just make sure. That doesn't mean to say you go and stand on the ball, do anything stupid. You just make sure that you're alert. Anybody else got any problems? Now, what you do is you get out. I spoke to you yesterday about not being overawed with the game. Now, get out there and enjoy that. There's a big crowd. If you sit back and just watch, a lot of people say that they've ended up playing Liverpool and they've watched what happened. I'm not interested in you watching it. You can watch it on the TV tonight. What I'm interested in seeing us be positive. I want to see us making things happen. I'm not going to have a go at you if we're trying to do something. But if you're passing the buck and trying to hide, then we're going to be falling out. We get going from the word go. I don't want anybody trying to save himself. You work your balls off, OK? So let's get out there. Let's improve. It's about time. Come on!
It was goalless for 50 minutes. Then Jan Molby scored. Six minutes later, Ian Rush. Wimbledon 2 down. 8 minutes from time, Carlton Fairweather lifted Wimbledon. But the last thrust came from Rush. It was a blow that struck to the heart.
Can't go home and tell your mum and dad and tell your kids you beat Liverpool or Everton because you keep bloody losing to them. Get a pat on the head and say, well, you're not expected to beat Liverpool and Everton. Well, I bleeding do, and we're going to start changing. What do we say, Gage? We wanted long throws, you keep giving it the midget. Wasting my bleeding time sometimes. Look, there'll be plenty of hard work and long hours spent on a training pitch, you boys. Make sure you're fit, because if you ain't fit to do it, you won't be playing.
3 days later, Wimbledon were out of the Littlewoods Cup, victims of 4th Division Cambridge. The slump went on. League leaders in September, they were 14th in November. Then, on top of 4 consecutive defeats, came Manchester United, a match captured by the club's own video. Wimbledon won 1-0, the scorer Vinnie Jones. A month earlier, he'd been playing non-league football for Wealdstone and having trials with Wimbledon in training.
On Thursday morning, we was doing some set play. And what you do if, like, they have the blue bibs and green bibs. And the blue bibs are the first team, and like, if you're green bib, you just play opposition, you know, against them. So he was giving out the bibs, and he's giving me a blue bib, and what's going on, you know? And then like, the boys are saying, you're in, you're in. You know, I just couldn't believe it. And then after, like, he named the squad and said, you're in the squad. So I had to go down London and get a suit, and it was just, you know, unbelievable.
Jones followed his goal against Manchester United by scoring in the next games against Chelsea and Sheffield Wednesday. 3 successive victories stopped the slide. By the turn of the year, Wimbledon had stabilised in mid-table. Then, 2 days before they were due to meet Sunderland in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, Dave Bassett dined in the officers' mess at the headquarters of the Royal Corps of Signals. He was there to lecture to the young officers about leadership.
You know, you don't want to overreact to situations. And again, I've learned over the period of time that that is the best way. I may add, there are times where I go bananas and then I drive home at night, or I'm going home from work and I think, you idiot. You know, I've done what I didn't want to do. I've dived in and acted straight away because all of a sudden the emotions have come up inside me. I'm fuming about something I've heard, and I've automatically thought the worst, and I shouldn't have done.
Bassett sent his troops out against Sunderland, only to see them a goal down at half-time. With 3 minutes left, they were virtually out of the cup, which would have meant the effective end of their season, until Laurie Sanchez equalised. And on the stroke of time, a typical Wimbledon howitzer reached Sunderland's penalty area, Glyn Hodges scored, and the players had earned a trip to Portugal to prepare for Portsmouth in the 4th round. During the trip, Dave Bassett took the opportunity to talk to Justin Fashanu about his contribution to the side. Bassett felt that Fashanu should have more to offer.
Quite honestly, looking at it from the point of view, if Don Howe or Bobby Robson said to me, what about John Fashanu, I would say, no, you're not good enough for anything. Sure. You know, and that's being honest. I mean, I can't be anything other than that, Fash. Whilst you're good enough for women. I mean, to be quite frank, I mean, if I was at a big club, for example, I would have doubts about taking you with me.
Why is that?
Because I think I've got value for money from Wimbledon for you, and I think you do. But I think if I was spending more money to pay for you than I paid for you for Wimbledon, I would want more from you. I'd want more involvement. I mean, that may sound as if I'm being harsh with you, but I am being harsh.
Sure.
Because I think if you want to reach the top, you've got to work harder in your training, your technique. I don't mean just running physically. I'm not talking about running about and weights. I'm talking about doing your finishing. Doing your crossing, the little things that just put the icing on the cake to make you a better player.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said to you, I mean, I'm being honest. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to take you because I don't like you as a bloke or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'd have to be honest. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying, if I'm going to have to pay more than I've paid for Wimbledon to do, I'm thinking now, hold on. Do I think I can get better value for money elsewhere? And I think I might be able to.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way, I think it's bloody harsh because, I mean, you look at the other strikers, big strikers who scored goals. I mean, there isn't many who've scored more than me at this time of the season at the moment. There isn't any who scored more than me at the moment. You know, I'm headering balls, I'm clearing balls, I'm knocking crosses in, but I'm not getting in there to finish off the little bits.
Yeah, I think you're doing something. I think sometimes you think you're doing more than you actually are.
The psychological moment had been well chosen. Before the week was out, Wimbledon would reap the benefit from Fashanu and from the team as a unit.
I think we all like to get away together because it's good for the team spirit. And, you know, as you've seen, we've had a laugh and a joke. But then again, we can be serious and get down with the training when we have to. So I think it's a good idea by the club.
And so, on Saturday, Wimbledon were ready when Portsmouth arrived for the 4th round.
Short that from Billy Gilbert. Hodges is there. In by Kay. Here's the goalkeeper challenging Fashanu and Sayer surely. Well, Fashanu. What a strange goal. Fashanu will claim it. A dangerous one. Swain got it half away. It's Hodges again. Chipped in. Oh, it's an own goal! Great! Winterburn. Hodges. Sayer. 3-0. Sayer, the scorer. Fashanu's closing in here for Wimbledon. Number 4.
The fifth round paired Wimbledon with Everton, but this time the build-up took place nearer home.
Control your bodies, only control a ball when you can't control your bodies! You scruffy heaps! Forward! Keep quiet! Keep quiet! Right hand file only, that's this bunch of heaps here. Lead on through that open door. Forward! Either get your hair cut or lower your ears, one of the two.
Oh, there you go.
Where's Lurch? I think I've got your jacket on.
It's been a bit of a mix lately, have some pride in yourself! Look up! Just in front of the right! Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right! Come on, corner!
Getting free on here, One heel, grab his heel. He's got dirty heels. You won't show that on YouTube. Come on. And up. Paul, keep him in. Come on. Come on, then, stay tight. Boy, not being pressing with one arm like that.
Bassett's happy army were nicely in the mood to take on the cup holders, and then the press stumbled on an unexploded bomb. Wimbledon were contemplating a move from Plough Lane. Managing director Sami Hammam was discussing a merger with Crystal Palace.
Sharing another ground will keep us completely free, but it will have a partial disadvantage of facing a situation such as Charlton faced, where you'd go there and you'd always be the visitor.
Tenants, yes.
And that will hit the crowds. As far as I'm concerned, the bottom line purely is financial. Tottenham are a better club than we are because they get better crowds, better income. So by the law of averages over many years, they can keep their better players, and they can, if they have a good manager, then they can keep him. Because they are richer. We're not. And if we're going to get low gates, that is one side of worrying about sharing. When, on the other hand, if you merge, it's exactly like you're getting married. So you have to give a bit of your freedom, but so would the other team.
Wimbledon had planned a short move from Plough Lane to Wandle Valley South, but an essential element of that was undermined when the league put a hold on any new artificial pitches. So the club looked elsewhere.
In the first division, we're hardly breaking even. We start facing situations. Dave Bassett, great manager, lovely. We want him to be with us. We want to please him. How can you please him? At the end of the day, this is a man who did the business for us. If you want to keep him, you have to pay him his worth. If you have to pay him his worth, you have to have the money. How can I do it? And how can I keep Glyn Hodges and Fash and Winterburn and Gale, and how can I keep those players and compete with Everton? I can't. And never mind buying the better players. Never mind, I'm saying keeping up. We can't.
But the club's case was rejected by the fans.
Absolutely, but we've got a ground here that holds 19,500. We've never filled it. We've had Liverpool, we've had Manchester United, we've had Everton already, and Everton again today. We've never filled it.
That's right. Yeah. Say it was a merger with Crystal Palace. Would you be prepared to go over to Selhurst Park?
No! Never!
Now, what I'm saying to you is do your job. Don't try and be clever and pretty because you think you're on the television and all of a sudden you're believing all the publicity. Make sure you do the job that we want you to do, OK? Because otherwise we've got 2 subs, we'll drag you off. No arguing with the referee. There's absolutely no point, all right? Let's not get involved in any incidents. Just be nice and competitive, aggressive, and let's win the game.
Cleared by Watson, Heath's picked it up for Everton, and we're going to be in for a ding-dong cup tie if it's like this. Trevor Stephen. Little touch for Heath, good position for Adrian Heath, the goalkeeper's had it, Wilkinson's in the middle, it's a goal for Everton. Now he's got Sayer in the middle, Stevens to beat, and Stevens brings him down, penalty! A penalty to Wimbledon. This is a vital kick for Wimbledon. And he went that way, saved, and it's gone in, yes! Hodges following up with
Gage. And Wimbledon have equalised. Now, the occasion's got to you again. You've only started to play the last 10 minutes. You're giving them far too much respect. Half of you look like you can't run. You're losing your physical battle. It's only the last quarter of an hour, 20 minutes that you started to win a few battles. And we knew you were there. I mean, it epitomised fashion just before the half-time.
Harry Bassett! There's only one Harry Bassett! Come on, Nigel!
Up goes the kick from Dave Bassett, and down it comes on Fairweather's head, and Sayer is in here. It's Sayer, good stop, Fashanu for Wimbledon. It's a goal! They're in front. John Fashanu scores, and Everton look at each other and look anything but the First Division leaders. Fashanu, Sayer, yes, it's there! It's 3-1, and surely they've done it now! Andy Sayer. And Wimbledon carve another huge hole in the Everton defence, and maybe carve another niche in history.
Get the boom right near him so if he can choke one out.
Well done.
You did do well, but you
Well, I've always said, like, you know, if we beat Everton, we can go all the way to Wembley. And we've done that, and all we've got to hope is for a home draw in the next round, and we're confident we can do it.
Number 6, Wimbledon. Number 2, against Tottenham Hotspur.
But the prelude to the 6th round was very different from the plane trips and tank traps that had honed fitness and morale before earlier cup ties. The board might have planned to move the club, they were finding it harder to move the supporters. While the deliberations continued, news came from Selhurst Park that a poll of Crystal Palace fans had vetoed that merger. But Plough Lane was still in ferment when Tottenham arrived.
Everyone Wimbledon supporter be there. We need you.
And the lack of harmony was echoed on the pitch. When Chris Waddle struck, Wimbledon had run out of miracles. Glenn Hoddle's free kick confirmed the inevitable. Not the least of Wimbledon's achievements this season was the resilience they found in the aftermath of that cup defeat. They had 12 games left and lost only 2 of them. They went to Anfield and came back with a club video of victory over Liverpool. They went to Old Trafford and completed the double over Manchester United. And when it was all over, they went to Scarborough.
There'll be loads of people waiting to get your autographs and all that, so I better get in and get through the rush.
Wimbledon played Scarborough to share the celebrations of the Football League's newest members.
Bon voyage in your new journey on the 4th division. Follow our example if you so desire, but improve on it if you can.
And at the end of their first season in the First Division, this was Wimbledon's record. In the league, 6th. In the FA Cup, quarter-finalists. In the Littlewoods Cup, beaten in the second round. International honours. Full caps for Laurie Sanchez for Northern Ireland and Glyn Hodges for Wales.
Hodges. Oh, have to think. Oh, good control. Good play by Hodges.
Transfer deals were kept to a minimum. The profit over the season was due to the sale of Nigel Winterburn to Arsenal. And a disciplinary record among the worst in the league. 6 players sent off, and a total of cautions that neither the club nor the FA will reveal. In spite of their success, Wimbledon's direct and aggressive style didn't win universal acclaim.
Last summer I knew exactly what the media would do and how people would react to that situation, so that's not been any surprise at all. They haven't disappointed me in any respect. I think if you look back through the record books, when Liverpool came in the league, they were accused of it, Leeds were accused of it, Watford 5 seasons ago were accused of it, and Sheffield Wednesday 3 seasons. So probably if Wimbledon survive another couple of years, you know, we'll be accepted and someone else will get some stick.
The season ended with one final entry on the debit side of Wimbledon's record, minus 1 manager. 10 days ago, Dave Bassett announced his resignation, and at the end of Wally Down's testimonial match, left to a hero's farewell.
We always knew that it was going to be easy if one sought mediocre results, and that it was going to be very difficult. It was going to hurt if one chooses to be amongst the tops. And that is what Wimbledon chose in the past and continues to choose at present.
Well, I mean, it was pleasing, really, that we proved a few people wrong when at the start of the season we were favourites to be relegated as usual. I mean, we can never get any credit from Mercantile even, but at the end of the season we did prove people wrong. We proved that we had a good cup run, and we improved as the time went on, and some of the players have now realised that they can be established First Division footballers and have shown the potential that I knew they had.
That I feel deeply hurt on a personal basis, that it's never acknowledged for what I have done on both time, money, effort, planning, as far as this club is concerned. And it does hurt me that having put my financial resources at great risk and my family happiness sometimes at that this happens. But that's part and parcel of the choice.
Behind the scenes, and that final act of a memorable season at Plough Lane was, of course, that Dave Bassett left one of the most talked about clubs in the country and joined one of the most charismatic chairmen in the league, from Wimbledon to Watford, from Sammy Haman to Elton John.
Elton, what were the qualities that made you choose Dave Bassett?
His record as a manager, the fact that I knew from his reputation that he liked and got along very well with his players, and instinctively I knew he was a great motivator.
Did it come as a surprise to you when Graham Taylor wanted to leave?
No, not at all. I'd expected Graham. I mean, if you're a creative person, and Graham, I think, football managers and people in football are just as creative as what I do in their respect. He'd spent so much time at the club and spent so much energy organising this and that and being involved in this and that. No, it didn't come as a surprise. I hope I'm a dear friend of his. I wanted him to go on to something different. He wanted something different. He needed something different.
When you look back on his achievements at the club, what would you say the most important ones were?
Well, I would say there would be no Watford Football Club without Graham Taylor. I mean, his total dedication and passion for the club are second to none. His leadership, his total professionalism, and the fact that I just liked him a lot. It was a chemistry. I think maybe it was a chemistry that died out towards the end. That's probably why he left. He wanted to leave because I didn't see so much of him. On the last 3 or 4 years at Watford, I wasn't there so much. I was on tour a lot. I think that contributed a lot to Graham not just becoming disillusioned. That's the wrong word. I think you need a relationship between a manager and a chairman for things to work, and a manager and a board of directors. When now Graham's gone, I'm more passionate than ever, and he's more passionate than ever. He'll go to Aston Villa and he'll create havoc with the players. He'll become Graham Taylor as he was 10 years ago when he came to Watford. I'll become Elton John 10 years ago when Graham first came to Watford. And I've got David Bassett, and it's something new for us both. You don't take, but it's been 10 years of great friendship, and 10 years of him sitting me down and giving me, he's given me stick when I haven't been behaving properly, but it's been a caring relationship, and it's one that's why I would never charge Aston Villa any money at all, because this man, if I'd have charged Aston Villa money, it would have been well, I mean, what's the point of delaying? Graham might not have been able to go there, and Graham wanted to go there, and Graham will turn Aston Villa into a wonderful club. I put my money in it now. If you wanted me to put £5,000 on the table now, I haven't got it, but I will say that Aston Villa will become in the next 2 or 3 years another major club, and I